In this video, we're going to walk you through the installation and initial configuration steps for an evaluation copy of Sassafras LabSight. There are a few additional steps to consider for a production deployment, like installing your license file and configuring the client for remote deployment, that we won't be covering in this video, so check the email that came with your license file for relevant documentation. All three of our products, KeySight, LabSight, and AllSight, use the same three main components. The first is the key server process itself, which is installed on one central computer and manages all of the data collected from the computers on your network. Next is Key Configure, the administrator's console. And third, the client component is installed on all computers that will be monitored by the key server. We'll install the server process on this computer first, using the default choices presented in the installer. When the installation is complete, the installer will open the default web browser to finish the setup process. On the first page, we'll create a new password for the primary administrator account. Second, input the server hostname and any proxy details as required. If the hardware the server process will run on also hosts another web service, you may need to enter alternate ports, as the default ports may be in use. In a production deployment, making the right choice on the fourth step is very important because it determines how client computers will be identified in the system. Refer to our documentation or reach out to support if you have questions. For this video, we'll keep the default option of MAC address. To automatically organize computers based on your Active Directory OU structure, enable AD integration on the fifth step. After verifying and saving settings on the summary page, initial key server setup is complete. Click one of the links to go to the login page. You'll probably have to bypass browser warnings until a valid SSL cert is in place, and use the password you just created to log in for the first time. We're in, but there's not much to see yet, just an empty default dashboard. We'll come back here in a minute, but first, let's install the admin console and client program. We won't launch or use Key Configure during this introduction video, since most LabSight settings and features are now accessible in the web, but there are a few things that you can only do there, so it's good to have it available. Once Key Configure is installed, we'll install the client here also, which just needs to know the address of the server. IP address works, but it's usually best to use the DNS name of the key server hardware. On certain platforms, it might be necessary to restart the computer after installing the server, admin console, or client. With initial installations complete, let's head back to the web interface to see what information the server has collected so far. The client we installed earlier is connected to the server and provided some system information. Notice that there's no last audit date. The client has not yet completed the software audit, but it will soon. Once the client has finished auditing, Key Server will consult PRS, Sassafras's cloud-based product recognition service, to retrieve relevant product definitions. Now that our client has completed its audit, we can see which products are installed. This client is a virtual computer running Microsoft 365 University Edition with web browsers, some development tools, and the Key Server client. Not very interesting. Now let's see what things look like after the client has been installed on more machines. The clients have all completed their audits, and PRS has provided the relevant products on this larger number of clients. The audit products report should now be more interesting, as we see a broad range of products discovered on both Windows and Macintosh computers. Discovered product families are automatically added to the Manage Software page. There are thousands of products known to PRS, but only those related to client installs will be retrieved. You will be prompted to decide whether you want to track usage for each newly discovered product family on the attention panel. Click the green dot to track usage or the red one to ignore it. Usage for all versions of each product will automatically be recorded. And after recording usage data for a few weeks, you'll have access to detailed usage reports that show how each product was used on each computer. That's it for initial setup. Be sure to watch our other tutorial videos for more information about using KeyServer Platform.